What if I told you that Pinterest's entire future, its single biggest problem and also its greatest opportunity, could all be explained by just one number? Seriously, one number that explains everything.
And this is it, 19 cents. That's how much money Pinterest makes on average from a user who isn't in North America or Europe. It's a tiny, tiny number that tells a massive story about a truly brilliant company that might just have a fatal flaw.
So, Act 1, the accidental blueprint. To really understand Pinterest's big problem today, we've got to go back to the beginning. We need to see how a failed app and, believe it or not, a childhood bug collection created an absolute giant.
It all started back in 2009 with this shopping app called Tote. And it was a total flop. People just weren't buying stuff. But the founders noticed something really interesting. Users weren't buying, but they were saving tons of items into these personal collections. And that was the light bulb moment. That one insight led to a huge pivot. So in 2010, they launched Pinterest, not for shopping, but for collecting. And once it found its core audience with design bloggers, the thing just exploded.
You see, the co-founder, Ben Silbermann, was a big insect collector as a kid. He always believed that the things you collect say a lot about who you are. And that idea is baked right into Pinterest's DNA. It was never about sharing your past with friends, like other social media. No, it was about planning for your future self, for the person you hope to become.
The original product was pretty simple, an online pinboard, but its design was completely revolutionary for the time. See, instead of a boring chronological feed like Facebook, the other co-founder, Evan Sharp, created this amazing grid layout. It was all about visual discovery, which made Pinterest feel less like a social network and way more like a search engine for ideas.
Okay, so that brings us to Act 2, the 38-by problem. That brilliant early blueprint created a monster of a company, but today, that company faces a massive gap when it comes to making money. First things first, you have to understand this. Pinterest is an advertising company. That's pretty much it. Over 99% of its revenue comes from promoted pins. Now, that kind of focus can be a strength, but wow, it is also a huge vulnerability.
And here's that vulnerability in plain sight. A user in the US and Canada is worth over $7, okay? In Europe, it drops to about $1.30. But in the rest of the world, where most of their users actually live, it's just 19 cents. A single user in North America is worth 38 times more. This is the company's core weakness right here.
And what's wild is their big new partnership with Amazon actually makes this problem worse. Yeah, it brings in some short-term ad money, but strategically, it's a total surrender. They're literally teaching their users, hey, come get inspired on Pinterest, and then go buy everything on Amazon. They're just handing their most valuable, ready-to-buy customers straight to a competitor.
And all of this reveals the fundamental issue at the very heart of the company. It's what I call the inspiration-action gap, that space between dreaming about something and actually doing it.
You know, when you put it next to its rivals, the problem is so clear. Pinterest is built for slow, long-term planning. Its main job is to get you to click a link and leave the site. But TikTok and Instagram, they are built for impulse. They are finely tuned machines, optimized to take you from discovery to checkout without you ever leaving the app.
So this is the inspiration-action gap. It's the huge chasm between a user getting inspired and their ability to actually plan, budget, and buy what they need right there. Pinterest is incredible at hosting the dream, but it captures almost none of the economic value. It loses its users at the exact moment they're ready to spend money. Which brings us to Act 3, from Pinboard to Project Hub. So, how do they fix this? Well, it's going to take nothing less than a radical transformation of the company's entire identity. So here's the thesis. Pinterest has to kill the pinboard. A pinboard is passive, right? It's a scrapbook. They need to evolve into an active project hub. They have to make a fundamental shift from being a place where users just dream to being a utility where users actually do things.
This new vision really rests on 3 pillars. First, project boards. You upgrade the static old boards into dynamic, collaborative workspaces with things like checklists and budgets. Second, project kits. These are basically shoppable templates that bundle all the content, tasks, and products you need for a project into one package. And third, showcase. This would be a whole new way for users to share their finished projects, making them instantly shoppable for the next person who gets inspired.
Now, of course, a change this big can't happen all at once. So here's what a potential 3-year roadmap for building out this future might look like, one step at a time. So year 1 is all about the foundation. You launch those project boards and just focus on getting users engaged with the new planning tools.
Then in year 2, you flip the switch on monetization. You launch project kits and build out a real shopping experience. And by year 3, you scale the whole ecosystem with the showcase feature, creating this self-sustaining flywheel.
And you can even future-proof this whole model. I mean, imagine using generative AI to create an entire project plan just from a simple text prompt, or using AR to see exactly how that couch from your project board looks in your living room before you buy it. This is how you build a long-term, defensible business.
And all of this, it brings us to the ultimate question, the really tough, core strategic choice that Pinterest has to make.
So here it is. To survive, to unlock its true potential, does Pinterest have to sacrifice some of its inspirational magic to become a more functional project management tool? Is becoming a utility a betrayal of its brand? Or is it the only way to actually fulfill its mission of helping people create a life they love? I'd love to know what you think.